Top 10 by Nimra. Cars, Lamborghini. What makes the Miura the most important Lamborghini, however, is that it is dubbed the world's first supercar when it came out in 1966, the fastest production vehicle for its time. The Lamborghini Miura forever changed the automotive industry with an industry-first transverse V12 that made 430 horsepower. There is simply no denying that the Lamborghini Miura is the most beautiful, inspirational, and crucial car to ever have come from the house of Lamborghini. This is the car that carved the template for every single Lamborghini that followed after it, too. This day, the Miura remains one of the pretty cars ever, with a design that could put Father Time to shame after Ferruccio Lamborghini decided to leave his tractor making in the past and focus on cars worthy of going up against the prancing horses from Maranello. The Lamborghini 350 GT was the first production car he made, the fruit of his labor after being scorned by Ferrari's founder. The 350 GT was Ferruccio Lamborghini's first attempt at a production car, and it was an instant success. With 120 units made, the 350 GT sported a long, sleek body, and a front-mounted V12 was used for the 350 GT's prototype. While the car had only 280 horsepower and lacked visual punch and sheer speed on straight line, this was an impactful and historic step for the iconic brand. A straight-six diesel engine with a 3.5-liter displacement. The L33 was the first tractor from Ferruccio Lamborghini, but not the last. The company is still churning out tractors even today, but it is now independent of Lamborghini. Ferrari's legendary founder, Enzo Ferrari, had taken offense when Ferruccio complained about the clutch in one of his Ferrari cars. El Commendatore then berated Ferruccio for being a tractor driver with no sense of driving a sports car, which ultimately led to the creation of the Lamborghini supercars as we know them today. How could the first Lamborghini vehicle ever made also not be one of the most important and be known to the uninitiated? Lamborghini made tractors before it entered the world of sports and supercars. The L33 tractor, the first tractor ever by Lamborghini, came from the house of Lamborghini Trattori. Perhaps no other Lamborghini car shows off the VW Group's impact on the Italian brand than the Urus. There is no denying that market trends over the last few years have been leaning towards big, rich SUVs. Thus, every car maker worth their salt, even those known only for sports or supercars, has been developing and churning out super SUVs. The market demand for super SUVs is so high that it even made Ferrari finally cave into the pressure and develop their own super SUV. The Urus is Lamborghini's first large-scale SUV and comes with a 4.0-liter turbocharged V8 engine, which it shares with the Bentley Bentayga and other VW Group offerings. Nevertheless, the Urus remains as much a Lamborghini as any, as the SUV retains the iconic design language and sharp angles that are unmistakable mirroring. It also overtook the Gallardo to become the most successful car in the brand's lineup, having sold over 20,000 units in just 5 years of production. Named after a Spanish fighting bull from 1993, the Lamborghini Aventador was first announced at the Geneva Motor Show in 2011 and immediately got the entire world talking. This was going to be Lamborghini's new decade car and would set the trend for the 2010s. The success of the Aventador can be seen from how the brand had sold 5,000 Aventador models by 2016. Despite initially planning to cap production at 4,000 units, the Aventador, also known as the Fighting Bull, was first announced in 2011 at the Geneva Motor Show, and it left everyone yearning for it. This is why, although the production was limited to 4,000 units, in 2016, it achieved the 5,000 unit milestone It even reached the 7,000 mark in 2017 and is one of the best designed, most timeless Lamborghinis ever made. 2020 to being the Aventador's last year, the car is set to go out with a final hurrah. Proudly housing its 6.5-liter V12 naturally aspirated engine, the Lamborghini Gallardo, while a tad humbler than the other entrance on this list, is very much one of the best and most important cars to ever leave the Sant'Agata Bolognese factory. Launched in 2003, the Gallardo was the first car that Lamborghini made with input from its Audi chiefs. Audi's involvement in the production of the Gallardo brought an unprecedented reliability and premium quality to the Lamborghini brand, which hadn't been their strongest suit until then. Say what you will about Italian supercars, there are not a lot of them that are known to be completely reliable and stress-free. The Reventon was one of Lamborghini's rarest vehicles, and the brand chose to sell these only to their most loyal customers. Only 21 of these were ever produced, despite not being mass-produced. The Reventon is still one of the most crucial cars in the brand's history because of the impact it had on future Lambos. A carbon fiber body that rode atop the Murcielago's chassis. The Lamborghini Reventon in 2007 was clearly the new design that the brand would go forward with, as it very heavily influenced the face lifted Ray Designov two of the most important cars in the brand's history, the Gallardo and the Aventador. A tremendously theatrical car that turned heads wherever it went. The Lamborghini Murcielago was Lamborghini's first car off the new millennium, and it set the trend for the 2000s decade, much like the Diablo did for the 90s. The Diablo's design language was replaced by the Murcielago's clean lines and lack of fussy, smaller details while retaining the sharp angles that made the car a Lamborghini. By today's standards, the Murcielago's 580 horsepower might look standard, but the Murcielago has always been more about the absolute driving frenzy it offered, while there is no denying that it hasn't aged as well as the Aventador. The Murcielago has a cult following of its own, and rightly so. Gearheads today fondly look back on the Diablo because it was the ultimate imposter car that adorned every teenager's bedroom walls. Aptly named after the devil, the Lamborghini Diablo was also the first Lambo to reach the 200 miles per hour mark, thanks to the 575 horsepower and 465 pounds-ft of torque that the GT variant developed. The Diablo was nothing short of extreme, which is simply natural for Lamborghini. While the Countach was the quintessential supercar of its era, Lamborghini worked on evolving and improving its design language, and thus came the Diablo in 1990. A great example of how car design was evolving near the end of the 80s. The Diablo was impossibly wedge-shaped and ridiculously angular. Lamborghini is known for its car's iconic angular wedge shape, with some extreme aerodynamics that defies conventional stance with the new iteration. A defining moment as important as any in the history of Lamborghini. The Countach first came out of Italy in 1974 and was one of the most ludicrous yet impressive designs at the time, housing a V12 engine that churned out 375 horsepower. The Countach, while ridiculous to look at, ruled the 70s, and it was quite the mainstay in the Italian car manufacturers' lineup even. In the 90s, the sun finally set on the Lamborghini Countach in 1990 when the Diablo came in to take its place.